Konami has finally done it. Silent Hill F is here, and much to the relief of survival horror fans, it's good. Really good. Silent Hill is back, baby, and hopefully here to stay. What surprised me the most is just how risky this game is for Konami. A brand new setting in Showa-era Japan, fresh lore, a melee-focused combat system, a completely different tone and direction. There were so many points where this could have gone horribly wrong, but somehow they stuck the landing. It's not perfect, I have some complaints about the clunky combat, but when the atmosphere, story, and horror click together, you get a hauntingly memorable experience. I had a great time, but should you check out Silent Hill F? Let's dive into what it does well, where it falters, and who it's really for. Silent Hill F has us follow our protagonist Hinako as her hometown descends into a horrorscape. She has a fight with her parents, runs out of the home to look for her friends, and the nightmare begins. Now, in classic Silent Hill fashion, the story is never quite what the premise suggests. Just as the town gets increasingly populated with monstrosities, we peel back Hinako's layers and get a closer look at the psychological battle she's going through. Which leads me to my favorite part of Silent Hill F, the story. I really enjoy complex narratives that dive into deep themes, and I'm happy to say that Silent Hill F is exactly that. Narratively, there's a lot to chew on. Cryptic conversations between characters, buckets of symbolism, lore items everywhere. This isn't a straightforward A to B type of plot, but an intricate deconstruction of a character's psyche. Sure, what's happening on screen is a high school girl escaping from mannequins in a foggy town, but what the story really is about is Hinako's relationship with her friends, her sense of identity amidst Showa-era Japan, the layers of pent-up emotion underneath her outside persona. She's a complex character, and slowly seeing her internal struggles manifest throughout the game was fascinating. I'm the kind of guy who loves ruminating over themes and storytelling techniques, so this non-linear style of story is right up my alley. But I can see this not clicking for everyone. It requires effort to enjoy, but as fans of Silent Hill narratives know, the more you put in it, the more you get out of these kind of games. I have to applaud Konami for going for this ambitious direction that feels perfect for the type of story that they're going for. If you're like me and enjoy a heavy dose of symbolism, you'll have a lot to love in Silent Hill F. To pair with the narrative is some of the best atmosphere I've experienced in a horror game. I don't think the trailers and gameplay footage do it justice. This game is way spookier than I anticipated. First, the iconic fog is back in a huge way. There is so much freaking fog, and the game toys with your limited visibility. It's so evil. It'll show subtle movements in the distance just to play with you, show silhouettes of what looks like to be monsters, then take them away. The tension it creates is on a whole other level than what we've seen in past entries. Like in this one scarecrow puzzle section, the fog hid the movement of other scarecrow enemies until they were right on top of me, scaring the bejesus out of me. What really sells the scares though is the sound design. My god, the devs were extra sinister with the sounds. For me, it was less the big moment horrors, but the little creepy sounds that got under my skin the most. Random knocks, footsteps, screams, all come at you when you least expect it, sometimes accompanied by a monster, but sometimes just by silence. It's the fact that you never know what to expect when you hear these sounds that makes the experience feel so uneasy in a great horror way. You love it and hate it at the same time. This creepy horror story package is then coated in some hauntingly beautiful art design. Like, Silent Hill F doesn't look technically impressive, but it has some incredible art direction. Monster designs are stunning. Environments are chock full of detail. With the Japanese setting, a lot of the visuals are based off of Shinto imagery, and it works to tremendous effect here. The dilapidated shrines are an eerie contrast from the purified atmosphere they're supposed to emit in real life. All of Silent Hill F's visual elements work together to create a horror that is distinctly Japanese, yet at the same time very much in line with the Silent Hill style we've come to know and love. Where the game doesn't land quite on the mark in my opinion though, is the gameplay, namely the combat. Look, I don't think it's bad by any means, but it wasn't something I was looking forward to throughout the game. It's purely melee based and intentionally clunky. From the survival horror perspective, the slow, punishing animations do a great job at making you feel vulnerable, but from a gameplay point of view, it feels pretty bad to be stuck in an attack animation for seconds. Fights are these almost Souls-like-esque boxing matches with the different monsters. It was fun for sure for the first third of the game, but mechanically not much changes throughout other than facing tankier enemies, so in the latter third, fighting becomes a bit of a chore. I actually enjoyed the gameplay outside of the combat much more, namely running away and the light stealth elements. In a lot of encounters, I found that sneaking past enemy line of sight or just running past them to be the better option a lot of the time. The mechanics are incredibly simple, but with the strong atmosphere and terrifying creature designs, running and maneuvering around the monsters were surprisingly quite immersive. I'd love to see this part of the gameplay expanded upon more, perhaps giving items that play into the light stealth ideas to give more interesting options besides fighting. Then there are the puzzles. There were more of them than I thought, and most of them are hits. From my own memory, they are tougher than the ones in the Silent Hill 2 remake, but what makes them great is less the puzzle difficulty itself and more the theming around them. One puzzle I really liked has you navigate across this shrine, hunting for the right Shinto Emma plaques while avoiding this horrifying thing. Another has you finding keys throughout a middle school, but mixes things up by putting these scarecrow mannequins in areas you once visited. The need to juggle between surviving and solving the puzzles at the same time is what keeps the gameplay feeling dynamic across the 15-ish hour journey. My final gripe about the game is the UI. It isn't good. Your item screen, journal, and maps are all on separate pages that aren't connected to each other, often having to open and close UI elements frequently. It's not a deal breaker of course, but it did get annoying having to break the pace to fiddle with your inventory management, and not in a fun way. Other than the average combat and cumbersome UI, Silent Hill F is a continued return to form following Silent Hill 2 remake that will enthrall fans. The focal point is the story, and they have delivered a cryptic, layered narrative that will have players analyzing all the different symbols months, if not years after the release. I was absolutely immersed by the atmosphere, cutscenes, and horror elements that kept pushing me to find out what happens next. It's definitely not a game for everyone. If you don't like obscure elements in your stories or average-ish melee combat, I can see you bouncing off this one. I definitely prefer the shooting mechanics of Silent Hill 2 remake, but the story elements were more than enough to suck me into Silent Hill F's world. Needless to say, every fan of Silent Hill and survival horror should play this one, and if you're a fan of more complex storytelling techniques and deep lore, you will find a lot to love in Hinako's psychological journey. Silent Hill is so back.